Welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. Annette Monk, she's a regular on The Price of Business program. She does an awesome job every time she comes on, but in between those times that she's on, she does an awesome job of liberating business owners out there from the problem of dealing with employees. With her company, Carlton Staffing, she takes that burden away from business owners and allows them to focus on the reason why they went into business, which really wasn't to handle employee needs. Why don't you elaborate more about how you liberate employers?
I love that. I think last time it was shame on people who didn't come to us.
And I still say shame.
Liberate. That's right.
I still say shame on them. Because I think what you do just makes so much sense. You know, people were passionate about going into business, but I've never met a business owner passionate about handling all of those employee problems. I've never seen anyone passionate about that. So why don't you get someone who does nothing but that? So
and you can concentrate on your core competency.
On profits and the things that you like. Yeah.
Exactly. So Carlton Staffing does do placement. So basically what we do is we help find great employees for our clients. So Carlton does temp to hire and direct hire placement in an office environment and out in the warehouse, including skilled trade. And we have two specialty divisions, one accounting and finance, and we have KTEK doing engineering and IT placement. But today I would like to spend time talking to my friend Julie Farr, who's the Executive Director of Houston Museum District. Thank you for joining us, Julie.
It's my pleasure.
Julie, why don't you start off real quickly with your elevator speech? Kind of give us an overview of what you're all about and what you're doing there.
Super. The Houston Museum District is an association that represents a collection of 19 museums, each very specially focused, no duplication. And the idea is to strengthen the local economy and create an enhanced sense of place. Visitors can find education, inspiration, recreation within the district.
Yeah. I think you've probably told people what you just said before. Yes, Captain Obvious. Yes, Captain Obvious, she has. Go ahead there, Annette.
So 19 museums.
We're located in the heart of Houston, south of downtown, just barely north of the Tex Med Center. We encompass Herman Park, which includes the zoo. So what we have created is one of the largest walkable cultural districts in the U.S. It's all within a mile and a half of the Meekum Fountain.
19 within a mile and a half, and that doesn't include all of the museums in Houston either, which is amazing to me that you mentioned. Yeah. Hundreds, you said, in the Houston area. So
yeah, we have some of the most
ones.
Unique and esoteric. You know, the Buffalo Soldiers. It's amazing the variety of museums we have.
And the depth of their focus on whatever their particular interest is.
Yeah, talk a little bit about this museum district compared to other cities, because my understanding ours is pretty substantial.
We probably have the largest concentration in a very small footprint, and it truly is walkable. And that's one of the things that we try to promote is park once and walk. And you can do it. So we have grouped the district by zones. There are 4 zones that you can do that. You can park once at, say, the Menil Collection and do the Menil campus that includes the Houston Center for Photography.
Yes. Yeah. And by the way, you've got several museums that are no cost. You know, it's donation. Menil being one of them. I love that collection. I believe the Contemporary Museum as well. It's been a while since I've been there. And so you can, of course, donate. They love for you to do that, but they also make it very easy for you to go.
Well, we always love donations, but it is an equal opportunity kind of situation. 10 of the museums are free admission at all times. The other 9 have dedicated free admission times. Last year, 1.7 million people came for free. That's equal to 70% of Houston's residents.
Wow. I'm sorry, I'm geeking out here in this interview. And I'm crowding Annette out. Go right ahead, Annette.
So, talk to us about the economic impact, though, of the museums. I know that a lot of them are free, but there's more to it than that. So,
well, and art is business. Over 6.5 million annual visits. According to a formula that Americans for the Arts uses, that generates $372 million every year in economic impact in the city. That's visitors' money that's spent at restaurants, at hotels, on purchases, on tchotchkes, whatever it may be. But there's another pretty big impact, too. The museum district organizations have combined budgets of $196 million. And that's money that stays in our community. We employ over 2,300 people. And that's the demographics of the city. We look like the city. We live in every neighborhood in the county. And that's where they're putting their money. They're buying groceries, they're buying gasoline, renting apartments, buying houses. So that's the business of the arts.
Yeah. And what's also interesting is, the concept of staycations. When you've got a museum district like we have, why go to other parts of the world to see other places' arts when you have these dynamic museums that are always changing their exhibits? It's an interesting concept. We make it very easy. That and the number of theaters we have, actual stages in Houston. I think we're the largest west of the Mississippi River in terms of number of stages. We're a cultural destination location that we're already living in. So I think it's amazing the kind of economic impact that we have.
We're second only to New York City in number of theater seats.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there are the museums that maybe many of us have gone to already, including the Houston Zoo that's in the district. But talk about some of the other ones that maybe some of us haven't heard so much about.
Well, what's really interesting about the district is that it brings together all sizes of organizations. So, for example, you have very small organizations such as the Czech Center Houston, which focuses on the heritage of that region of the world, all the way up to the Museum of Fine Arts, which brings in blockbuster exhibitions and everything in between. Some institutions collect and they have their own, they show what they have collected. Some of them are bringing in, some of them are producing their own exhibitions. Even the zoo, they consider themselves collectors of DNA because they're protecting species.
Wow.
That's fantastic. Got about 2 minutes left. Talk a little bit about things that happen seasonally, that's different for the museum district. You have certain things happening at certain times of the year that you're mindful of?
So one of the things that the Houston Museum District does is promote and market across the state what our 19 institutions are doing. And one of the ways that we do that is to have grouped the district into these walkable zones. There's 4 zones. Zone 1 is in January. That is the Menil Collection Campus that, as I said, includes the Houston Center for Photography. Zone 2 in April is the largest area with 8 organizations that is bounded at the north by Diverse Works, which is in the new Match building, which is fantastic if you haven't been there, Buffalo Soldiers, and then goes all the way down to the Holocaust Museum. Zone 3 is the smallest footprint. It does happen in July, so, we don't want to lose anybody. So that's the Contemporary Art Museum, the Young Center, which is not usually on people's radar as a exhibition space, and the Museum of Fine Arts. So the walk is mercifully short for that one. And then this Saturday coming up, we are featuring Zone 4, and these are the cultural destinations grouped in and around Herman Park. Each venue will have regular Saturday hours, regular admissions fees, but there are special programs and activities throughout the day. So, for example, the Children's Museum, they are celebrating a year-long Read Strong. They're doing Hooked on Books. There will be live performances in the afternoon by the Drama Kids, and you can do an improv workshop and get your acting on. The Health Museum, you can explore your fears. There will be activities about the science behind fear and how our body responds to it. At the Museum of Natural Science, they have assembled the largest group of mummies, think of Egypt, ever. And it's cutting edge. There's state-of-the-art multimedia things. You can look inside the body of a mummy. It's really cool. This is a great family. Yeah. Well, and you might get scared at the zoo, too, because you can get in touch with the wild, and there is a get out and play in nature activity for that.
Cool. The Young Center, I've never gone, and I'm a fan of Carl Jung's work. Particularly, he's who actually developed the personality type that led to Myers-Briggs, and the 16 personality types that they developed was based on Jung's work. What would you find in that exhibit? I need to go, but
They rotate their exhibits. It's usually local artists who are working with some kind of a social message.
Interesting. I have to check that out.
Very
good.
Yes.
Why don't you wrap it up with about 30 seconds?
So really the last thing, Kevin alluded to this earlier, but the last thing would be, what can we do, for the museum district every day? Just the citizens of the Houston surrounding area.
I would hope that Houston citizens would be our advocates, our voice. that there is really a great arts and cultural scene here in Houston, not just in the district, but citywide. Whether you go to the East End, whether you go to the Washington Avenue corridor, there is so much going on here. There is something for everyone, all ages, all ethnicities, all festivals. There is just so much activity. Talk it up.
Don't just wait for relatives to come to town.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Okay.
Exactly. We've got a great district here. We've got so much to offer. It's amazing. Julie Farr, she's with the Houston Museum District. That's houstonmuseumdistrict.org. And, of course, Annette Monk, she's a regular. Which website do you want to give? CarltonStaffing.com?
You got it.
Yeah, very good. And from there, you can go to Carl Tech, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
CarlTechUSA.com.
Yeah, that's right. There you go. All right, lots of fun as always. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you, Kevin.
And when we come back, we're going to have much more for you. I do want to remind you the show continues 24/7 at priceofbusiness.com. You're listening to The Price of Business.
You just defended yourself with a gun. The police are called and you're potentially involved in a homicide. But it was self-defense. At this point, you are not in your right mind. No one ever is when they are in fear for their life and defend themselves. Anything you say can and will be used in a court of law, both civilly and criminally. Fortunately, you have selfdefensefund.com. We are the National Association for Legal Gun Defense, and we protect our members nationally in all 50 states, up to $1 million per incident per member. Let us do the talking for you and visit selfdefensefund.com. Any weapon, any state, anytime.
Hi, I am Ross Powell of Survival401k.com. Remember the old adage of read the handwriting on the wall? Well, when society collapses, food and water shortages become real, travel is restricted, and people become violent. Then it's too late. Here at Survival401k, we help our clients gain access to their retirement funds to self-direct and accelerate their emergency preparations and to gain access to property, precious metals, weapons, and provisions. Contact us today for a free consultation by visiting Survival401k.com.
Carlton Staffing is a full-service staffing firm placing office, accounting, and industrial employees, both temp and direct hire, along with their technical division, Carl Tech, which places engineering and IT professionals. If you're tired of high turnover and all the problems that come from that turnover rate, unfinished projects, unhappy customers, and the time it takes to recruit and hire new staff, then contact Carlton Staffing today. Take the stress and expensive recruiting, interviewing, and hiring off your company and let Carlton Staffing fill your positions quickly with the right person. Contact Carlton Staffing at carltonstaffing.com. That's carltonstaffing.com. Carlton Staffing, making connections that work.
As an American, do you know the principles that founded our nation? Do you understand the ideas that have made America free, just, and successful? Do your children? 71% of Americans today are civically illiterate. That's a serious problem in a nation governed by its people, and it will only get worse unless we take action. American founder and President Thomas Jefferson once said, "If a nation expects to be ignorant and free, it expects what never was and never will be." So let's take action. You can help preserve our nation's freedom by learning about America's founding principles. Go to AmericanHeritage.org for resources and workshops. That's AmericanHeritage.org. Learn America's heritage. The future